Cool. We are live and um hello. Today I'm going to be trying to do a how-to of Warframe. At first glance and playing this game at the very beginning, it is very complex and strange, so I'm going to try and break it down to the best of my ability because most people need it. Cuz people are stupid. Nah. Me playing this game in the very beginning, I was very confused with everything as well. And I understand how it is. So let's just start off with how the game sort of starts. I am on my main account, so I can't exactly do that too well. Um, but in the beginning, you start up and you have to choose between 3 Warframes. Those 3 Warframes are Mag, Volt, and Excalibur. You can also, if let me see here, sorry, words. You have to choose one of the 3. I chose Mag. Thought she was interesting and stuff. And they are also because of them being the 3 starting Warframes in the game, they are the cheapest for the price of like $5 in the platinum currency system here. But I'd highly suggest not to buy it if you, let's say you don't like the Warframe that you chose. I'd say don't waste $5 trying to get a new one. I'd say honestly don't waste any money attempting to get other Warframes like these and such. Because throughout the game you can actually have the full capability of obtaining every Warframe and weapon just by playing the game. The game has the pay-to-win aspect of it, but it also is very much... Did I say... I'm sorry, words. It is kind of pay-to-win, but it still has equal play-to-win value in it. There's not really any advantages you can get by paying through the game, honestly. Like, sure, you'll have extra platinum to, like, let's say buy a Warframe. I'd say the one thing that has more of a pay-to-win aspect is getting cosmetics, and things can get pretty crazy, such as this. You have a nice cosmetic for the specific Warframe. Oh, hello. You can have nice cosmetics by honestly spending money through that. And I'd say that that'd probably be the only reason why you'd want to spend your money. Just for cosmetic purposes, honestly. Because again, all of the Warframes are earnable. It takes some time and work, though. And that's... I feel like that's fair. So, like I said, the 3 beginning Warframes you choose from are Volt, Excalibur, and Mag. It explains who they are in the very beginning. Excalibur is like the swordsman, Mag controls magnetic powers, and Volt is, like, controls electrical powers and everything like that. And so it begins the quest known as Vor's Prize. What you gotta do essentially is remove this thing off of your leg, but what you first have to do is unlock all of these things right here. I forget which one it starts off with, but you essentially have to go to your navigation, and the one thing, I believe it should be the quest section. If you just press R1 right here and L1, it'll lead you to the tabs, and the quest that'll show up will be Vor's Prize right here. So eventually you just gotta do stuff and obtain the parts to open this and all the other junctions in the ship, and then basically uh, activate this thing called the Foundry to build a device in which you remove the thing off of your leg. And then eventually you attack Vor, and then it's like, okay, it's over. The next quest you get, I believe, is called Howl of the Kubro. Again, you just do it by the same way. You go to, let's see here, the quest section, and then it'll lead you to certain quests. I believe around Earth, because that's the only junction you start off with at the very beginning. To get to all the other junctions, you have to expand by doing all of the navigation star system points. So you start off here or something, and then you gotta work your way through going over here and then going over here. However, there are certain requirements to access a junction. As it says to the left side, it requires the quests or having path unlocked or a certain amount of resources necessary. It's pretty self-explanatory. So back to Howl of the Kubro. One thing that is a little bit confusing is it'll, I believe, tell you go to Earth basically and try and get a Kubro egg. That is a little confusing in the very beginning because it doesn't exactly show you how to do that or explain how. And so what you gotta do is you'll see these sort of dens with these Kubros. Kubros are the dog species in the game. If I go to it and show you it, should be this one. These are the Kubros. And what it should drop is one of the eggs, because I guess they're like, I guess that's what they drop. I forget which one it is here. Not too sure now. But if you just go into their den, I believe it's either you destroy their den or kill the Kubros, you'll get the egg. And so eventually you go to the incubator. You have to have resources to incubate it. You have the egg, you have the power cord, you should have an open stasis slot, and then no active pet. As you see here, this is my Kubro. They are very special because it requires a certain infested thing that you get from basically other people, I believe. They can infect you. And if you see this pink thing on my neck right here, that is a cyst. It is very nasty. But it provides no sort of buff or debuff to your combat. So it's nothing really bad. It just looks fucking disgusting and nasty. Don't worry about these two rooms. That comes way later. So let's say you want to remove your cyst. You'd have to go into this,
is it not, operator? Otis would
yeah,
enjoy
disgusting room.
This.
Cleaning this room, but sadly this vile mass serves you and your Warframes. A necessary evil.
So what you can totally do is cure the cyst, and I believe forever that specific Warframe will no longer have any cysts. So, because whenever I did that, I only ever had been infested with that cyst once, and then it just never happened with that Warframe ever again. So you could cure it from you, or what you could do is when you're breeding, you can put it in the incubator, and then you get this guy. Hi, buddy. He is then a infested dog, or a helminth charger, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. It says it's an infested pet bred from the Hemelith cyst, thing that's on your neck. When it comes to managing your companions and pets, um, there are the Kubros, which are the dogs, and I believe the Kavats is what they're called, which are the cats. Um, you have to be careful managing them because if you don't have a lot of loyalty, which means if you don't pet them enough, they'll start to fear you, and that's not good. And what that will do is they'll say, oh, you'll be angry with you, or oh, they'll cower in your approach. But all that really does is either, all it does is just give you more damage boost with that. Then you have the DNA stabilizers, which I guess is going to be like food. Not really food, but just something to make sure that they're alive. And so that just provides more health. If it goes to 0 for the both of them, that's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's not good either. What ends up happening is um, Ortis will put your companion back into stasis, noticing that, hey, you haven't been taking care of your pets. Well, we're gonna put them back into their egg-like state and make sure that they don't die. Because once you put them back into stasis, they are just in their stasis chamber and they're alive and they're okay. Uh, so you can have slots, you can buy slots, and that's how that sort of thing works. There are different there are there are different breeds of Kubros. I think there's 2, 3 different breeds of Kavats. There are a lot of the Kubros though. I don't know how to elaborate it all properly. Let's see, preview companion. This is my little baby puppy, Sarax. He is a Huras Kubro. I don't really remember which one that was. It was like, I believe, Stealth. He's a little baby though. Here's my first one, Luna Scout. Oh, wait, let's see here. Weird armor. I don't remember why I colored her this way. She's a Chessa Kubro, and I believe what that did was she scouts for things more. And then Apex is just an infested gross doggo. And what he has for special abilities, let's see here. Hello, Apex. If you go to his mods and abilities, he should have, let's see here, this ability only for his species, Probos. I don't know how to pronounce that. I'm not going to try. But what that ends up doing is just dragging people, and it's not fun. Then there's this. He essentially charges and rushes at the enemy, doing a pretty decent amount of damage. This seems pretty intimidating with all these mods here. For the most part, oh, this is about to be crazy. Okay. So, next thing I shall elaborate, is mods. There is a lot of them, but thankfully there are things that help sort them, which is also really good. And this is not the only place you can access mods. They're all sorted by different previews. As you can see here. The other way you can access them is through your arsenal. So, let's say here, where is she? I made this person. They're pretty nice. Okay, let's say here you want to upgrade your stuff. Let's see. I'm just going to remove all of this. There's going to be different types of mods here for your Warframe specifically. There's going to be Madarai, Vazorin, Naramon, Zenuric, And then these are just something special that you don't have to worry about for now. And then auras. Auras are kind of a little bit later as well. Depending on what you have, though, it can provide more capacity up here. So if you see it's 60, it becomes 74 instead. And because you have the same symbol on here, because this is, I believe, Nerimon, because it is a Nerimon or a mod, and you have it over the same type required, it gives it more of a boost. So let's say you put one that is different of it, you'll still get a boost, but not as much, and it's not the best either. Now for the more standard mods, let's see here. Again, the same sequence here. You can place mods here, or you could place it over the necessary, what's it called? It is called polarized. Sorry, I forgot to mention these are called polarized slots. So let's just say you have a regular Nerimon mod, and it's like, oh, you want to place it over this one. What it will end up doing right here, as you can see, it cuts the capacity of this specific mod in half. But if you were to put it on this one, it would increase it, and that's not good either. So we'd put that there. Another thing that's gonna happen in the very beginning of the game, if I can find an example of this, there are gonna be flawed mods. So essentially, they're not gonna be the best. Eventually, you won't get any more flawed mods. The further on you get into the game, you will get better mods. If I can find another one. Sorry if this is taking me a minute. You'll get something like this, where it has more slots, however. So since this is flawed, it's probably not going to be as good, and it doesn't have a lot of capacity. But with this one, it has more capacity the more you put into it, and it'll be better. If I can find one, because it's going to take a minute because I have too many. There we go. If you max this one out, it is different from this one. So this does 72 energy maximized, but this one does 150. And it'll provide more energy in the top left over here. But then there's another thing called primed mods, which makes things even better and powerful, so you can put that there. And they also have a specific mod type, so since this is Nerimon, I can put it over here. And it cuts it in half, and everything's all dandy and okay. You can do it with the same of each type. When it comes to mods, I honestly don't remember the names of them. I honestly just call these the bullets, the line, the tooth, the Y, and then just Exilis, because they're their own sort of category, but you can still place them up here, but you can also place them on the top right here. When you start off, though, this will be locked out, so you won't have access to it unless you have an Exilis slot to put on. You can get those, I believe, in certain mission types, and or buying them with platinum. But I got it from my mission type, so I equip it, and I essentially have an extra slot for my mods. Alright, so certain... Oh, I'll have to maybe accept that later. Considering I'm trying to educate and all that, I didn't specify that. Sorry, back to the stuff. I can't accept it right now, man, I'm sorry. Certain Warframes require certain builds. For Mag, if you want to make her better, it's probably best to put more range on her depending on what you're trying to do. So what Mag does is she has these bubbles she can cast. Should be this one. And as you can see from the preview here, it is this bubble, and when you first start out, it's kind of small, like really small. And so what I did was I built her first build having a lot of range and a lot of efficiency and duration, just because the bubble can last longer then and things can be better. But she has reduced strength depending on the type of mods that I've provided for her. So this is a special type of mod. It provides more range, but it reduces my strength. It's not the end of the world for her though, because with her bubbles, they're already as tough as they are, and it's basically fine. Let's say though you want to build more strength. This can be helpful for her bubble as well, trying to do more damage. Or what it could do is provide more pull. The more strength you have, the more aggressive her pull would be. And then other things with her abilities. But this is the main one I use for her a lot of the time. Now let's say you want to... I'm trying to make another example of this. Carefully though. Let's say for her, you can get her as well eventually in the game. For Wisp, she is more kind of like a support, but she also is her own. She has her own damage abilities, and so what I built for her is a whole lot of strength. She doesn't really need range, but I also built her with a whole lot of duration as well. And what that ends up doing is really, really, really buffing her up with, let's see here, her reservoirs, which is these little things she can place to provide more speed, health, or shock enemies. And her speed and health actually do a whole lot of a bonus depending on how much strength you have. And so I basically made them a whole lot stronger and last a whole lot longer. So you can essentially have her reservoir for a good, like, a good 2 minutes, I think. And if you ever need to get it again, you can just go back to the reservoir and then it'll reset the timer and you get it again. And then I built a lot of damage with her soul gate. It's essentially this beam of light that you just get from the sun, basically. You open a portal to the sun and you basically blast people to death with it. It's insane. Oh wait, I forgot to check something. What next? You can also have mods provided to certain weapons as well. For example, these, the standard one that you get in the beginning is Serration. There's a flawed version of it as well, but eventually, again, throughout the game, you'll get better stuff, and it'll be a whole lot awesome. Depending also on what it does, it's probably best to have maybe more crit chance so you can do more damage to your opponent and things of that nature, and so on. And that goes the same for all of your weapons. Another example of this would be your melee weapon. This one is more of a damage build. Has some speed to make sure I'm not slowed down with certain mods. Let's see here. I think I have a speed mod. No. Oh, I have a crit chance mod. Certain mods can provide stack bonuses also. They're a bit more rare, but this is a special one that you don't have to worry about for now. But this is a crit weapon, really, and so if you just have a whole lot of crit, you can essentially make it really, really high and really, really deadly. And so that's what I did with this melee weapon here, and so it'll do more damage every crit you do, but probably lacks more actual damage, base damage in that sense. So what I have here is good medium between the two, which I'm really happy with. And yeah, let's see here. And again, these you can all get just by playing the game and doing the missions. They're a little bit at the beginning difficult to get because some of them, I'm gonna have to decline that, I'm sorry. Let's see here. The way you'd normally get mods is by doing assassinations. So let me find one real quick. Let me find a bit of an easier one. Okay. Where is... Okay.
You have loyalty issues, Taro, my
So,
Zanuka.
this is going to be an opponent you'll face eventually throughout the game. If you want to get, let's say, the Valkyr Warframe, you're going to have to fight this guy.
You have
And
loyalty
so,
issues, Taro.
wait. I'm going to put this on solo for now.
You have...
What you end up doing is having to assassinate this target, and you'll get a specific piece from him of that Warframe. I'll show you it in a little bit when I finish the mission. You have to kill him and then exit the mission, and then it's all dandy and you get a specific piece. However, it is based on chance. You get around like a 1 in 3rd chance of getting one part, 1 in 3rd chance of getting another, and so on and so forth. And you can only get it once. You can only get one part in that mission. So let's say you get the chassis. Oh, I forgot about how they did that.
We need to find the VIP and take...
Okay, pause that. So let's say there's the neuroptics, the systems, and the chassis. You get the neuroptics, you can't get the chassis and the systems. Sorry.
We need to find the VIP and take them down. Let the target
And it takes
escape.
a little while to get these pieces.
Corpus have tech
What I
buttons.
suggest doing
We'll
is just
need to be
running
careful.
through and avoiding all the enemies, in
The
my
Zanuka
opinion,
prototype has
because
made
they're just gonna
Alchemy
hold
a
you
very
back.
dangerous
Unless you want to
man.
do that.
If he's allowed
That's
to
bad.
carry out
That's
his plans,
toxin
no
damage.
Tenno in the system will be safe.
There's gonna be a marker point that will
I
lead you
can't
to where you
decide,
have to
Tenno.
go.
Have you come to save your friends? Or just steal my property?
Sometimes you have to access this to open the doors. But there will be a marker point leading you to where you have to go. Hello, guys. Goodbye. To where you have to assassinate your target. And he's right here. There's a bit of a glitch though, because if you rush through all of it before he's done like talking in all his instances,
There is the assassination
then
target.
he's just
You know
gonna
what to
stand
do.
here, I think. I think that's the glitch. Ow. Disrespectful.
Now play nice, Taro. Zanuka is one of you. Actually, come to
I
think
just
of
killed
it,
him. I
Zanuka
didn't really mean
is
to, but that
many.
happened. I'm not gonna lie. Oh, well, now I did. So yeah. Oh, well, there he
Nice
goes.
work taking down the VIP. Now get to extraction.
Okay, so I killed the guy. Then I have to leave. It'll be a green marker point. You just gotta run out. Unless you don't want to and just want to kill everything. That's fine too.
Looks like heavy activity.
Alright, try to skedaddle. Then you exit, and then that's it.
They
Success,
won't be bothering us
and
anymore.
you
Let's get out of
get
here.
the neuroptics. And then you do it again, and eventually get the other pieces, and that's how you get those specific pieces. To get the actual blueprint itself, you have to go to the market. But with the market, if you want to get a blueprint there, it just costs credits. It doesn't cost any platinum or anything like that. It's pretty easy just to get that. If it'll load.
Hey, you. Yeah,
Hey,
you.
daily.
Friend.
Dailies
Like-
are another thing in the game. Depending on how many days you've also been in it, you'll get better
It can be
rewards.
tough as a kid.
Alright,
All sorts of people have it.
so you access the market, you go to categories, very simplistic and nice. You click that, and it'll show you all the Warframes. Then if you go to look at the bottom right here, you can press R1 to show blueprints only. And, oh, look at that. There's Valkyrie right here for only, let's see here. Just this amount for the blueprint. So, hey, you buy her. Buy her blueprint.
It can be tough as
Now,
a kid.
what you have to do after that, though, is collect a lot of resources. Let's see. TV. You have to collect a lot of resources when it comes to it. So, you collect these resources. It shouldn't be too hard. If you go to the navigation,
Operator, are you enjoying the view?
most of the time you'll see the resources required. So let's see, if you see right here, it says click L3 to access your resource drone, and then click over, oh, 1 second, no, give me a second. You click L3 to access your resource drone, and then click R3. You'll see what type of resource that planet provides. So you can see that it provides all this, and that another planet might provide those. And for the most part, they all have different resources that they all provide. Let's see, and this one gives these. Some of them might be the same, not gonna lie. Some planets, some places might actually have more special resources, such as this one. It can provide argon crystals. Be careful with these, because these can actually disappear from your inventory, sort of like expiring, that is. If you have one and if you have it for 24 hours, it'll eventually expire. But if you have two in your inventory, it expires for 48 hours for both of them, and that's just based on one argon crystal times 24 hours. So you just do 2 times 24, 3 times 24, and so on and so forth, and that's how long argon crystals will last for. So then you build whatever type of piece you need for your Warframe. So as I see here, I have the neuroptic systems and chassis. Let's say I want to build all three, I do that, and it's all good. But they each take 12 hours to finish, so when you finish in those 12 hours, all three of these will be complete, and then you'll be building this, the main blueprint piece, because you have access to the chassis, systems, and neuroptics, and this takes 3 days to build. Like I said, it's time consuming a little bit with the work and, time required, and it takes 3 real days for this to happen. But I'd say it's pretty worth it in the end. Um, can't really think of anything else to elaborate on. I guess don't forget to do your quests. Some quests also have requirements, such as this one. Different prerequisites. I've basically done all of them except for this one and these two. But the prerequisites should be there on the mission if you haven't done them. And also, certain quests can actually be replayable, which is also pretty neat. Except for certain ones like Vor's Prize, you can't redo that, sadly. And another really, really good one. Let's see if I can find it. Within this, you can't redo this one at all, which kind of makes me sad. Because some of them are actually really nice. However, that's just kind of it with, I guess, that. There are different mission types. There we go. So these are all the mission types. There's assassination, which I just mentioned. Capture, you essentially have to capture a specific target that is an enemy to the Tenno. Defense, you are again defending a certain thing and making sure that the enemy, whatever type they are, whatever faction they are, make sure that they don't destroy it. Excavation, you excavate and you have to make sure people, enemies don't destroy that as well. But it won't be anything really negative if they do. It won't fail the mission or anything. What you have to do for excavations is have just the minimum amount, and then you can be basically able to leave unless you want to continue excavating for that specific resource that the excavator provides, because sometimes it's really good. Exterminate, it's pretty simplistic. It's just you trying to kill the minimum amount of enemies until you can then leave. I forget what hijacks are. It should provide information here. It's been a bit since I've seen this one. I believe you just essentially have to... Oh, this one. Yeah, I remember. It's the same kind of thing with defense, except for, like, with a moving object. It's been a while since I've done this. Basically like another defense. Hive sabotage. You have to destroy these disgusting things, but you have to, like, look around for smaller little, like, cysts until you can destroy the big one. And you usually have to do that 3 times. Interception, it's another type of capture and defend type of thing. You essentially have to capture these points, defend it, make sure no enemies hijack it or hack it. And there's 4 of them. And the way it works is if you have it hijacked, it'll start increasing the percentage that you have until you get to 100. But the enemy can also do that itself, so be careful when it comes to this. So let's say you have like 3 out of the 4 nodes hijacked, 3 out of the 4 relays, you'll get a quicker percentage amount than the enemy would. Invasion. This is usually just, I believe, about like having to find out which faction you're fighting for, I believe. This mission can be repeated. Yeah, it says choose one faction to represent in the conflict. You can either choose to side with the Grenier or the Corpus, and doing so can provide you with special resources if you need to. And that's it with that. Mobile defense, it's just another type of defense. You gotta make sure you get this thing into the thing you're trying to defend, and then transfer it over to another and another, and you only have to do this 3 times. It's pretty easy. Recovery. Oh, I haven't done this one at all, but essentially, if you're being hunted by Zanuka, the thing Alad V controls, and if he actually takes you down, then you get captured, and it's not cool sometimes. Rescue is also pretty self-explanatory. You gotta defend a person that is being held hostage, essentially. You have to be careful because sometimes it requires a bit of stealth or just quick handling of the enemies to make sure that the alarms do not go off and they don't kill the person you're trying to take. Sabotage. You just gotta really just destroy this target or defend it, and then something will happen to the ship that you're on. It'll either like be in some frozen stasis or like be in exploding stasis. Either or. It depends on like what you do. Spies, they're alright. They're kind of like my least favorite because you gotta be careful with them. You have to do 3 of them. If you have 2 out of the 3, then you're good. If you do 1 out of the 3, then you fail the mission. It's not so good. Sorry. You just gotta sneak around and spy, I guess, and try and get the data and information that the Lotus and Tenno need. These last 4 are actually not too important. They're just kind of like not something really part of the main game at all. I guess Annihilation is important. No, never mind. Yeah. These aren't too important at all. It's all good. The one thing I shall say about assassinations is, depending on who you assassinate, there will be someone that tries to hunt you, essentially. So, I believe how it goes is if you try and kill, like, a normal target, you will be hunted by someone named Stalker. And if you check your mail, and let's say you assassinate that said target, if I scroll down all the way over here, trying to find one. Huh. I don't think I have it. Man, I guess it's just been a while since I've been hunted by Stalker. Yeah, I guess it's just been a while. You'll essentially get something in your inbox, saying that you've been marked, and essentially every now and then, Stalker will attempt to assassinate you back. And let's see here, if he kills you, then he just leaves, and then that mark is removed. However, you can have multiple marks if you've done multiple assassinations, increasing the chance of being hunted by him. You can also get hunted by 2 other factions. I don't really remember them too well, but essentially it's the same type of deal. They provide really nice drops, though. An example is you would get a blueprint of a specific weapon known as Dread. Where is it? Dread. And it's a really good bow once you get in the game. It has high crit chance. I've added onto it and such, but it has really nice high crit chance. Another weapon is Hate. Essentially the same type of deal. It has nice crit chance and everything. And then there's, I believe, one called Despair, which is a secondary weapon that is a kunai. I don't have that. Kind of makes me sad that I don't, but it's not the end of the world. There are just some really nice weapons and such. Now, lastly, I guess I would have to end off with probably is Warframes and weapons a bit more. When it comes to Warframes, certain ones actually have specific requirements necessary to use them. Let's see. I'm trying to find one. I kind of wish it would specify more about it. Yeah, however, certain ones do have special requirements necessary. Not really not too special, like secondary. Some just require higher mastery rank, and you'll see that on the top left. If you go to show profile, also, you can see your mastery rank as well, and you can see how much you have left to become the next mastery rank. And after you basically maxed out your mastery rank, it'll max out, and eventually you have to take this test. In the beginning, it's not too hard, but towards the end, it's a little bit more difficult. And if you fail them, you essentially won't be able to do them again for the next, I believe, 12 hours. Or if you use platinum to remove the time limit. But I'd say that's pretty bad, and don't do that. It's a waste of platinum. But what you can do instead is go to, let's say, this relay over here. If it'll load and such, you can essentially take a pre-test of the next rank above you. And you can even take the other tests again below you. Let's see here. It's loading. Also, fun fact, you can move your ship around. It's pretty fun. Whee! I swear I have a driver's license for this vehicle. You can skip cinematics and everything like that. Fast travel to this guy. Don't worry about him. So what you can do is take tests again if you are below that rank again. Or, let's see here. 10, 11, 12. I can take this test, but if you are 2 levels above the master rank, you won't be able to take it because it has the requirement, as you can see here. And most of them are pretty easy. I'll take this one to see what it is. And it's just essentially a pretest that you can do for how many times you want it to do.
Your Warframe's movement abilities are key to this challenge. Defeat all the enemies before the ground completely falls away.
Oh. Essentially, gotta be careful. Okay. Hi, guys. And for the most part, you essentially get 3 chances of doing this. Oh, my aim is terrible. You can have certain weapons that can help you with this. Like, if you have like certain shotgun weapons or something to help you with this, that's perfectly fine. Oh, I almost fell off. Let's reload. Hello, sir? This is actually really bad. Hi there. Ta-da! And you finished that one.
A formidable performance. This test is now complete.
and you finish it, and then what that leads to is you being the next rank if you were to actually do the test. Yeah, just be careful about the certain ones you can do. You get 3 chances. It should be all good, though. Makes me wish that tests were this easy. But sadly, that's not true. Sometimes. Oh, sorry. My bad. Okay, why is it doing that? My bad, I'm sorry. But other than that, that's just about it of me educating to the best of my ability. For now. If you have any questions, I guess just message me, or email me, maybe. I don't know. If you just got any questions at all, just let me know, and I'll explain it to the best of my ability. Yeah. Oh yeah, I guess another thing is gear. You can activate certain gear, by equipping it in your arsenal. It'll, be, again, in your arsenal. If it'll load, and then you just click over here. You can have gear or emotes, and you're set to go. You can equip them, and it's all fine. You can equip emotes as well, which is also pretty nice. I have too many. Well, considering that there is a lot, you can really just equip them all and have a bunch of emotes in your arsenal to have fun with. It's a whole lot of fun. Meditating, dancing, different types of dancing. Handshake interaction, which is actually pretty nice. If it works sometimes. Sometimes it's been kind of buggy a few times. And there's even a fun little thing that they, for the most part, put into the game recently, where you can play music. And there's the scale you can change. You can play certain songs that are selected from here. Y'all cool. And I don't know how to do this because I'm not playing keyboard and mouse. It's very hard to do with a controller. That's just kind of it. Probably gonna end it here. Goodbye.